Hello and welcome to today's reading. We are just going to jump right in because this reading is very specific. I was not expecting the reading to get this specific, I'll be honest with you. So, let's not waste each other's time. Yeah, let's get into it. This reading is for someone who is involved in a kind of love triangle. You would be dealing with more than one romantic interest right now. But the reality of these types of connections are that you tend to use them to kind of avoid um a kind of truth about your own like emotional state, and also kind of, and maybe you're aware of this, maybe you're not, because this is showing up more in the subconscious influence, but these relationships serve as a way to kind of stop oneself from truly pursuing like their dreams and their passions, and it's stopping someone from, or I should say give someone an excuse to not fully invest and dedicate themselves to a kind of enterprise, like something that is going to take a lot of time and effort. And these kinds of connections serve as a distraction to that, because I'm seeing that there honestly is not a lot of compatibility outside of like maybe physical attraction within these connections. Like none of these people are actually compatible in any way. And if this reading is for you, you would actually probably, you're being challenged by these connections right now. Like both could be either wanting a more solid form of commitment, or could, I mean, even if not that, but asking for some kind of clarity around where the relationship stands in one's feelings. And the interesting thing about this is that if this reading is for you, you are the kind of person that actually really needs like emotional connection. You need that depth, and you could be going about these connections like, and I'm getting like more physical, and that is kind of where the intimacy, most of the intimacy is coming from. However, even in times of being like physically intimate, there is something that is lacking, and it is because there needs to be greater depth. Like what you really truly need, and what kind of connections you thrive in, have the emotional depth. I think that these relationships bring like drama that isn't like world shattering, but like drama that it does enough to kind of throw your emotions off balance and leaves you in a deeply dysregulated place. And again, that is that the subconscious influence is that it, then you feel like you have a reason to not do the thing that like you feel very called to do, but I think like, to be honest, you might find boring. Like, let me focus because this energy feels very scattered. And the more, I will be honest, if you were not aware of this, the more that you involve yourself with like multiple people, this is not any type of moral judgment. Please, I want you to hear me clearly when I say this, because everyone is free to do what they want. Date who you want. You know what I mean? If monogamy doesn't work for you, do whatever. But just be clear about where it comes from. The more people that you involve yourself with, especially when we get into physical acts of intimacy, you do steep yourself in their energy. There is a consciousness exchange that happens. And so if you are already, feeling unstable, and then you go to someone else who is also maybe not doing the best, you know what I mean? Those energies are mixing, and kind of finding your own clarity out of that is really difficult. And I see that that energy might be kind of getting, I think, harder to detach yourself from, which is why you're being pushed, like in some ways, to find that clarity about whether or not you want to fully involve yourself with these people, or if you're going to kind of take action to have your own, be rooted in your own self, is how I'll phrase that, and we'll get a little bit more into that in just a bit. I see that one of your concerns is like, is the prospect of being alone. Do you know what I mean? I think that when you are alone, you are naturally a very introspective person, because again, your emotions are like, you are deeply connected to your emotions in a way that I think maybe intimidate you. Maybe there are some things that and again, this feels like things that you're aware that maybe need to be addressed, that you need to sit with, that maybe you could benefit um from healing, I'll be honest. But it's like kind of the idea that you have to do these things alone is intimidating to you. It feels unfamiliar and therefore unsafe. But you're really wanting to express yourself. Like I think that you are arriving at a point, if you haven't already, um, you're kind of reckoning with this idea that maybe it would be better to be on your own. Maybe like to intentionally be on your own. Do you know what I mean? Um, to make that choice. And I think I'm seeing that there may be some kind of pattern where you've maybe arrived at this kind of conclusion before, and you do the thing, like you do step out on your own and you kind of cut off any romantic connections or people that could serve as that kind of distraction that would take you away from the internal work that needs to be done so that you can do this other external work that you're really wanting to actualize. But then things, maybe like your thoughts specifically, I'm seeing like your thoughts kind of start to spiral that can feel a little difficult. Certain things from your past that you're wanting to heal do arise. And it's like, because we haven't established the kinds of routines or the habits that will ultimately help you heal, it's hard in the beginning. And so, we kind of, thus this pattern comes about where we go to other people to distract ourselves from what truly needs to be done. And I think there are connections too. Let me just say there are connections that do bring this about. You know what I mean? There are people that I think in your past you have connected with that have been able to help you reflect in certain ways and haven't just been a distraction. But ultimately, the people that I'm seeing around you right now are like, it's interesting because I think now you are in a moment where like your attempts to hide are bringing the kind of people that are emphasizing the problem. Do you know what I mean? Where if you're trying to connect with these people in a deeper way, they just don't have the ability to do that. And it's painful in that way. And you're being forced to look at it in that way. There's something in the past here, like some kind of healing that you set out on in the past where it's like you kind of got on that path and now you're always being brought back to it. Excuse me. Because subconsciously it's like this is what you want. It's just, it's difficult in the doing, which is totally understandable. In the past I'm seeing there was kind of, I feel like again this is just talking about a clarity, like there was a very um important moment of just clarity about your own kind of independence and the kind of joy and like freedom of expression that you would have from that. I think too, like the people that you surround yourself with, there's certain expectations about how you can express yourself that's limiting in ways that you are aware of and ways that you are not. I think there are certain sides of yourself that you don't let people see, specifically romantic partners. And it's like, I don't think you've ever met someone where it's like you are fine with them seeing all sides of yourself. There are people that have gotten more access to you than others. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, I think you've been trying to, again, find in someone else the kind of validation and acceptance that you ultimately need to give to yourself. This is, loving and accepting all sides of yourself so that then whether or not people accept it doesn't matter, but you will then attract the people who also can like accept all sides of yourself. Um, and so that may have been like a recent understanding that again is pushing you towards moving beyond this pattern of needing to keep people around to either distract or validate. Um Again, subconsciously you're really being pulled towards some form of study. I think there's something, again, a passion that you have, and this feels creative in the sense that I don't think maybe like the way that you currently think to go about it maybe isn't established or maybe isn't like the status quo, it isn't the norm, but there's something here that you're wanting to build that I think you would like describe yourself as being a novice. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't feel like you have all of the knowledge or all of the practical skills is more what I'm getting. Like you just don't have the kind of the hours spent practicing um to fully put it into action yet. But like this is, you're being called to task essentially. You know what I mean? This is like, okay, it's time to put all of the distractions down, including the ways that we are numbing ourselves to our emotions, because your emotions, I feel like, are fuel for whatever this is that you want to do. And so being disconnected from your emotions does literally impede your ability to do this work, because like that's part of it. And if you're numbing yourself with connections, you're not going to let yourself do this work. Um In the near future, though, and this is beautiful and I love this, this is about finding your autonomy. This is about getting clear with what it is that you want to create, and kind of doing away with those distractions, um, alchemizing and transmuting that energy, and understanding how these emotions. I think you're becoming more and more aware of just how fleeting they are and how nothing really lasts. And so it's about understanding how your emotions really move through you, and how they motivate you, and how they push you to do certain things. And it's about just becoming more aware of those motivations and those loops, so that when those are kind of set into motion, you can redirect that energy in a way that is beneficial to you, in a way that helps you. And in so doing this, we literally have the Magician and the Ace of Chalices, the Ace of Cups. This brings about the kinds of connections, romantic if that's what you're looking for, but I feel like this is more talking about in community, and even a connection back to like old versions of yourself that you may feel you have abandoned or that were lost in some way. This is about having that connection to yourself again, and being able to fulfill your own cup, right? You know what I mean? This is about having that emotional stability, and allowing yourself to be who and what you are, and express yourself without fear of, judgment or anything like that, and really being able to spread your light. I see, like, whoever you are and whatever it is that you want to do, you have such like a pure heart, and it's something that I feel like you maybe feel you have to hide, or in times you feel like it was more of a burden than a blessing. But it's like you have such care for people, and like a desire to just better people's lives, that like connect to that, be connected to that. It is so beautiful. I can't fully express like, or find the words to articulate what this feels like, but this is just like someone who has maybe felt so overwhelmed, or maybe even like disheartened by the way that you perceive the world and the things that you see happening, that it's like I understand why would rather numb it, but like your heart is so important and the need for you to express it, like the good that you will do and the people that you will help. I don't think that you are fully aware once you truly let yourself be what you are and dedicate yourself to this task and to this cause. I'm going to pull an oracle for you, my dears, and then I will let you go. We have number 33. It says, get lost. Let's see what it has to say. I wish I knew the names of the birds that are on this card right now, but I don't. But there are some birds on here. Okay. It says, knowing exactly where you are and where you're going is overrated. Routine can dull our eyes and create complacency, boredom, inertia. But adventure can open us up, pull on our brave strings, and cause us to release confidence and curiosity we didn't know was inside. There's magic and discovery in the unknown. Take a risk. Follow your heart. You don't need to know exactly where it's all leading. Sometimes it feels good to be lost in the right direction. All right. I hope you trust yourself more. All right. You have a beautiful heart, and I hope that you share it more with the world. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. If this reading resonated with you at all and you want to drop a like or a comment, I really do love hearing from you guys, and it helps me out a lot. If you want to know next time a video is posted, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of when it goes up, you can hit the little bell and you'll get a notification next time I post. Hope to see you guys next time. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.